everybody, and welcome to the first episode of Top Rope Reality. I'm Mike Hogan, along with
Justin Carter.
Yes, how you doing, Justin?
I'm doing great.
Are you surprised we finally made it here?
I'm just ecstatic that we're finally here making our first episode.
I can't believe it. How long has it been?
It's been quite a while.
2 years or more.
Yes.
We had that other thing, and then we got this thing, which I think this thing will be a lot better.
Oh yes.
What do you think?
I think it'll last longer.
Well, you know, this little show we'll talk about Raw and SmackDown and NXT and TNA, and we'll talk about people we don't like and people we like and people we wish would go away or people we wish they would hire. That's what it is. I mean, it's just a wrestling show.
Our opinions.
We'll have some fun, our opinions, yes. So you take them or you leave them. It don't make no difference to us.
That's right. Just here to entertain you.
But what made us do this would be our love for wrestling.
That's right. Being a wrestling fan.
Yes.
Pure wrestling fan.
I've been one since a little before WrestleMania 3. And here we are coming on WrestleMania 30. I cannot believe.
It's been quite a while,
Yeah.
hasn't it?
Yes. 27 years. That's a long time.
That has been a long time.
And I've seen a lot of people come and go, and a lot of people who I wish wouldn't have showed up at all. What about you? How long have you been a fan?
I'd say I've been a fan since my first memory as a fan was the NWO angle in WCW.
Oh, yeah. Well, it almost took them to the mountaintop.
That's right. But also destroyed them.
Yes. Eric Bischoff and his cocky ways took out WCW. Because they always thought, well, if we could just tell everything about WWE and we'd be great and they would go out of business. But
Didn't work that way, did it?
no. One old Mick Foley Mankind
That's right.
turned the tables for WWE. That's kind of weird to say. You think it'd be Austin or Rock.
Yeah.
I mean, they say it's Austin, but no.
If it wasn't
that
for
many
Foley
people-
winning that belt.
When that many people change the channel, it's Mick Foley,
Mm-hmm.
which I really don't like Mick Foley. But I have to give credit where credit's due. Just like John Cena this past week on Raw. Man, it looked like he was hurt. I thought he was gone. I had a smile on my face from ear to ear.
Gone from WrestleMania.
Yes, I thought he was gone for 6 months because if it's a year, it's always 6 months.
That's right.
If it's 6 months, it's 3 months because Superman doesn't stay down that long.
Nope.
And I was hoping and praying that he was gone so some younger talent could be pushed so Superman would get out of the way. But I have found out it's a work. He's not hurt. But I have to give him A++ because he really played the part really well.
He did. I was personally not able to watch the show, but after I watched the highlights, I really thought he was injured. I really did.
What played it for me is, and anybody can fake an injury. We know that. But Bray Wyatt, he seemed like he was really hurt because he called the dogs off.
Yes. More than once, he pulled him back.
Yes. And you would think they would keep going. The doctor coming over there and everything, and he was talking about his leg and holding his leg and everything. Wasn't sure if it was knee or like with Triple H when his tendons rolled up his leg. You just couldn't know. He played it off real well.
They played it off well, and being WrestleMania season, that's the kind of thing they need to really push the envelope to get you to think.
Well, speaking of Raw, let's run over some of the results from Raw this past week. It was a fairly good show. I mean, it won't get good ratings. Nothing gets good ratings anymore for wrestling because there's no competition for people to watch. People, if you hate WWE, you're just going to hate it, no matter who's there.
Yep.
But Hogan started the show, and of course everybody now loves Hulk Hogan because he's with the WWE.
He's back home.
And he's not TNA.
That's right.
Tell me, Justin, how many people have come back and said, it's finally glad to be back home?
I mean, we could make a whole list, quite a long list of people that have come back, that are still there, and some that retired right after coming back just to be home again.
Yeah, speaking of The Rock. He went home too long, was he? Well, we started off with Hogan. He was talking about how he was great to be home, and how this is where he belongs, and this is where he'll stay. And then he surprised everybody and said he's going to be the host of WrestleMania, which if you read the newspapers and stuff, or looked at the websites of all these different different news places, you already saw that he's going to be the host of WrestleMania.
Right.
So I guess for just the dumb folks in the crowd
that don't look at the internet,
that don't look at nothing, that found out he was the host of WrestleMania. I think, if my memory serves me, I think they might even said it before he come out. Michael Cole and JBL. So he opened the show. He said he's glad to be back, and he's going to be the host of WrestleMania 30, which is a good thing for him. That's what Hogan needs to do. I saw a clip where he went on the Today Show. That's his thing. He's
great for PR.
Yes, he is the king of PR.
Right.
He can sell ketchup, to an Eskimo, which I don't know.
Even if the ketchup bottle was empty, he'd be
That's
able to
true.
sell it.
Yes, Hogan is a great seller.
The only thing I will say about him being the host is it worked for The Rock. I mean, my gosh, he started as the host and then got 2 WrestleMania matches out of it. But
Do you have to bring up that bad news?
But I say now, please keep the man with a bad back and bad hips and bad legs. Please keep him out of a wrestling match.
He will not.
He cannot be wrestling.
If the reports are true, he will not wrestle because he didn't even pass the test.
Right, he couldn't pass the physical,
No,
which is great.
couldn't pass
He's good to help. I mean, good to be backstage for the morale of the younger guys backstage. That's great. But he does not need to be wrestling in the ring.
No. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was a Hogan fan back in the day. And it would have been cool to have Hogan and John Cena, the 2 biggest egos in professional wrestling, teaming up against Roddy Piper and somebody else,
Right.
Roddy Piper and Bray Wyatt. Now,
Right.
wouldn't that have been a nice match?
It would have been very interesting.
It would have been the main event, too.
Right, absolutely.
Because you got John Cena and Hogan, they would definitely, Vince would have
And 2 of the people that were
exploded to have them in the main event.
And 2 of the people that were in the main event of the first ever WrestleMania.
Yes.
I mean, that's money right
And I
there.
still hear Piper will probably show up at WrestleMania.
He probably will.
He'll have a
But,
backstage segment or something.
but he's honestly one of the ones that does not need to be in the ring either. Piper's Pit would be totally fine.
Yes.
I'd be totally fine with that. But he
I
does
might
not
see
need
a
to be
Piper's
wrestling.
Pit with Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family, or the Shield.
That would be interesting.
It would be interesting. Up next was Alberto Del Rio and Batista swapping wins, because Batista got one in Elimination Chamber, and then Alberto got one on Raw, thanks to Randy Orton.
But honestly, it's only because of Randy Orton. If it would have been a one-on-one match, there would have been no way that they would have let Del Rio beat Batista.
No.
Okay, there would have been no absolute way. The only reason he got that win was because of Randy Orton.
Yes, you're true. That's true. That's true. That's the only reason he got the win. And people cheered Randy Orton, which I don't know what they're doing with that. Is Randy Orton going to be face going to WrestleMania, and Batista going to be bad guy?
I mean, right now, with the way things are, I could see both of them being heels because people are still going to boo Randy Orton no matter who he faces. No
And
matter.
they're definitely going to boo Batista.
Oh, yes.
Because of one person not getting what he deserves, Daniel
Right.
Bryan. Well, we had that match, and like I said, Batista got beat because of Orton. We had Cesaro versus Big E.
2 of the people for the future of the WWE.
Yes. And Cesaro had Big E fixing to beat him with a neutralizer when Jack Swagger interfered and put on the Patriot Lock.
Little overzealous in the situation.
Yes, they are hinting of a breakup for the Roman
They
Reigns,
are, and
which is sad. You know,
It is.
don't-
I love that tag team, and I love them with individual potential,
Yes.
and I love them with Zeb Coulter. But it looks like Cesaro's going to go the way of a face, once Swagger goes the way of a heel, and Swagger will not get a push, and Cesaro will continue up to the main event.
Until he comes face to face with John Cena.
John Cena, and then his push will be destroyed.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Like John Cena does. He is the career killer.
He really
Not
is.
Randy Orton, who's the legend killer.
Yeah.
John Cena is the career killer. After that, we had John Cena, who
Speaking
came
of the
out.
devil.
Yes, the devil. Yes, he
Yeah.
is. He came out and he challenged the Wyatt family, and they all come out, and he said that they're big enough and bad enough to climb under the ropes. Well, they did, and that's when the work injury, so-called.
But let's
occurred.
think about, and
Yes.
as I'm looking over at your note, let's think about the fact that he said the future has to go through him.
Yes, he did say that. He said it several times.
Okay, now then that means if the future has to go through him, then this is my opinion on WrestleMania. Because we know it's already going to be Bray Wyatt versus John Cena. If the future must go through John Cena, then Bray Wyatt has to get a win at WrestleMania.
Well, son.
Has to.
Well, son, you are highly thinking John Cena is not losing at WrestleMania.
I mean, he lost to The Rock, okay? So at this point, he's trying to get his wins back. And I see
Yes.
that. But at the same time, don't make a comment like that, talking about the future has to go through you if you're not willing to lose.
You're right. And John Cena can lose.
And it wouldn't hurt his career one bit.
No.
I
Definitely
mean,
not.
even his match against Cesaro, I mean, people were on their feet the other week when he fought Cesaro. Cesaro should have got that win.
Yes.
Number one thing I had a problem with, he should have got that win, and it should have been time for him to start moving up even faster by beating him. He beat Randy Orton. Why couldn't he beat John Cena?
Because John Cena's the Superman.
Of course. Yeah.
John Cena is the golden boy. Some reason, John Cena sees Hulk Hogan. And I guess he's going to use John Cena as long as he can use him.
Yeah.
But you're also backing yourself into a very bad corner, because if he really does get hurt and he's gone, say, a year, he can't be Superman and come back in 3 months.
Right.
What do you do then? Then you panic and you start shoving all these newcomers that you haven't gave any time to, that you've pushed down. Then you try to throw everybody in their face and say, hey, like this guy, come on.
Right.
Come on, sell tickets, sell t-shirts, sell videos.
Yep.
And then, what do you do?
I mean, it's going to be disastrous if they keep doing that. The guy's been on top of the thing for 10 years.
Yes.
I mean, even when Hogan was around that long, I mean, my gosh, you had Warrior, going over him and stuff like that.
Hogan passed the torch to Warrior at WrestleMania.
I mean, Andre did the right thing with Hogan. Hogan did the right thing for Ultimate Warrior.
Yes.
And for some reason, that's become a lost art. Passing the torch has become a complete lost art.
Kurt Angle passed the torch to John Cena.
Yeah. So why, if Kurt Angle would have never been said, okay, you got to lose to John Cena, if that would have never happened, John Cena would have never got to the point where he's at now.
Right.
So if it wasn't for Kurt, there would be no Cena. So at this point, Cena needs to realize, if there's no me, there's no anybody else. So I've got to be the guy to push everybody else.
Yeah, because if you only, Daniel Bryan got a win. He did get a win. But if you look at anybody else.
That's the only person he's allowed to be pushed. And
Punk.
And I can almost...
CM Punk got a win.
Well, of course, but I can almost guarantee the only reason that him and Daniel Bryan have swapped wins and he's really pushed for Daniel Bryan is because of the Bella twins.
Yeah.
I can almost guarantee that.
Yeah, you're probably right. You're probably right on that. That's true, because women do make us do things we normally don't do.
Exactly.
But normally when John Cena loses, there's always some interference.
Oh, yes. It's never a straight up,
No.
oh, well, somebody finally beat John Cena. No, of course not. There's got to be some sort of interference. And I guarantee you, if Bray Wyatt beats John Cena, the referee will be knocked down, and the Wyatt family will come in, and they will cause John Cena to lose, and then the referee wakes back up.
You're right.
That's the only way it's going to work.
John Cena will not be pinned fairly at WrestleMania if he loses, but I don't think he's going to lose.
And my gosh, he's never going to submit. He's never tapped out in his life.
He doesn't tap out.
No.
I heard that he kicked himself out of bed 2 seconds before the alarm goes off, so John Cena never taps out. Up next, our match 3 of the day for Raw was Christian versus Sheamus.
Right.
I mean, they may run to WrestleMania with this.
I think they are.
They could draw it out. I mean, because Christian has to have a change of attitude, which I do like. I mean, I think this is Christian's last run.
I will be discussing that a little bit later on.
Okay.
But
I don't want to give anything away if you're later on.
Don't give it away.
Yeah, I think and it won't matter. Christian will not win. Heel Christian will lose to Sheamus at WrestleMania because Sheamus is one of Hunter's boys.
Oh
so
yes.
He's just not part of the clique, but he's one of Hunter's boys. Okay, we see the Authority. They're coming in. They're talking to press about the W Network. And we have Daniel Bryan come in, and of course he screams wants a match with Hunter.
Right.
And say he'll face him at WrestleMania, and then Hunter tells him he will try to find a place on the card for him.
Right.
And Hunter kind of laughs it off about fighting Daniel Bryan, and that's what we get there. So. And then Stephanie tells Bryan to calm down because he has a match with Kane later in the night.
Which I do like that.
Well, I'm tired of Kane right now being corporate Kane. Okay.
I'll go into that a little bit later on during the match. But
all right. And then we had Ambrose and Reigns and Rollins all in the back, still arguing.
Right.
Ambrose is getting tired of asking where he was at during their match when they lost to the Wyatts because he did the spear. I don't know if he was under the ring or wherever. You could not see him anywhere. And then after Ambrose leaves, Bray Wyatt walks up, and he gets a match with Rollins later in the day with no Shield members. And
Rollins or Reigns?
Reigns.
Reigns. Okay.
Did I say Rollins?
You said Rollins.
Okay. Reigns. I meant Reigns. Yes, Reigns.
Which is
and Bray
is another one of those matches of the future superstars of that company.
Oh yes, I've seen in the last few weeks Seth step up. I know he's probably had to read from the script and everything, but he's stepping up.
Right.
And he's talking more, which is good.
Yeah.
That's what they want, people to talk. He can talk. All three of them can talk.
Honestly, out of all 3 of them, you know that Roman Reigns is going to be the man to come out of that group. I mean, number one, he's homegrown talent from the developmental company when the other 2 came from the indies. So obviously they're going to say, well, I want him, to be our guy because he's homegrown talent.
And part of the Rock's family.
Exactly. That does help him a little bit there.
Yeah. Friends with Rock, friends with Hunter, helps a lot.
Oh, yes.
Then we had match 4 was Daniel Bryan versus Kane. Bryan, after a few minutes of them going back and forth, and Kane was controlling it, Bryan hits the knee strike for the win.
Right. Now, what I'd like to say about that match is, like I said, I do like that they put that match together. I do like that match because it's been built up a little bit, and I can see right now what it's going to be is Kane's pretty much going to be that go-to guy for Daniel Bryan to keep beating leading into WrestleMania for Triple H to later on have his match with him. And I'm not going to go into my rant on that match yet, but that'll be for a later episode.
But
I do like that Kane has changed. He's always been one of those that can stay Kane, but he changes his gimmick up.
Yes, he does.
And I do like the corporate. A lot of people are saying they don't like the dress pants with the wife beater. That to me does not bother me.
No, it doesn't.
I think it's very different of him. I mean, he went from the big red monster and a big red machine when he first came in, and he was so dangerous. And then they destroyed his gimmick when they first took his mask off. They completely destroyed the gimmick, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then, later on, things get better and better when he's on SmackDown against Edge and everything with Paul Bearer being involved, God rest his soul. When that
Who should be going to the Hall of Fame this year.
Yes, hopefully. But when them two were in their feud, Kane was once again at his best. And then the other thing that helped Kane's career was teaming with his opponent from this week was Daniel Bryan.
Oh, yeah.
I honestly believe that brought Kane back up, and that's helping Daniel Bryan versus Kane because they know each other so well from being a team, and I think that's helping a lot. I like the feud.
Yes, it's a good feud. It's a good feud. It needs to,
I mean,
not many more weeks.
It's going to taper out as Triple H comes into the picture. But, Triple H is not going to be wrestling on Raw. That's why they have Kane wrestling.
But I could see them making Kane the referee for the match.
Now, I could see that because the authority is going to push their authority.
Yes, they're going to make as much against Daniel Bryan as possible.
Of course, he's going to be the underdog.
Yes. Well, the best thing about it, kind of, was at the end when Daniel got the mic and said Hunter was scared. He was a coward. He was hiding behind his wife's skirt. Mm-hmm. And that everybody wants to see Hunter versus Daniel at WrestleMania 30, which is not true. I mean, it's okay, but I'd rather see Daniel Bryan get his moment and wrestle for the World Heavyweight Championship.
I think a lot of these smarter fans that watch wrestling want to see him win that belt. Like, even Mick Foley has even said, this is the whole thing. This is the whole thing that Daniel Bryan is his year.
Right.
He needs to be winning that title at the end of WrestleMania. He needs to be standing tall with that belt. So I think for good PR, they're saying that that's what the people want because WWE feels that if they tell you that's what you want, then that's what you're going to want. Right. But it's not true.
Right. And next match 5, was Summer Rae versus Emma. Regular Divas match, fans went much too much in it.
Which is sad, honestly, because Summer Rae and Emma have done so much down in NXT, and I've heard great things. I haven't seen a lot of their matches, but I've heard a lot of great things out of the two of them down there in NXT, and I hope and pray that these NXT divas that are coming up are going to change the face of the Divas division, because I honestly feel like they are wrestling more instead of being eye candy. They're being more wrestlers. But bringing Emma straight in to just be goofy with Santino is the wrong move.
Well, I look for after all this with Summer Rae and Fandango and Santino and Emma.
Right.
I expect to see a mixed tag match at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I mean that's definitely going to happen.
Match 6 was the Usos versus the World Tag Team Champions, the 6-time World Tag Team Champions, New Age Outlaws, and that match was over in seconds. The bell rang. Road Dogg wanted to finish his little promo he does,
right.
And before he got a chance to finish, super kick, splash. And it was over. So that should be a match at WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, most definitely. That should be a way to really push the Usos, and I'll be talking more about that match a little bit later on.
And what they need to do, I mean, the tag team division was peaking, but all these teams breaking up and everything, it's starting to drop again.
Oh yeah.
We need to have something big at WrestleMania. I think it's time for a Fatal 4-Way TLC match at WrestleMania.
I mean, they really do need to do something to really step up the tag team division at WrestleMania. That's the place that it's going to have to happen. That's going to be the season that, they really push more tag teams. And then, hopefully we get some more tag teams from down in NXT, but it seems like right now there's only one tag team in NXT, which is not a good thought.
No, it's not.
When it comes to the tag team division for the future of the WWE.
No, they had the Wolves from Ring of Honor in there, and they just let them go. I mean,
Right.
I don't understand that at all. You're not putting people together, but you want to build a tag team division. That doesn't make sense.
Right.
And the main event match was Roman Reigns versus Bray Wyatt, which ended pretty much like how Swagger and them ended, with one of the partners coming in and causing a DQ.
Right.
So, and then we had the big reveal, which when they were hyping Brock Lesnar all night.
This was the true main event here.
Yes, it was a true main event right here. It was Brock Lesnar and Heyman come out, and they said they had an open contract from the Authority to wrestle anybody they wanted to
Which,
wrestle.
I'm sorry, but you could see that coming a mile away when they
Yes.
said it's an open contract, and then they're going to
Yes.
say they didn't want it.
Yeah, they said they did not want it. They wanted the world title match, which I would have been fine with that. Brock Lesnar, Batista, Randy Orton would have been nice.
Totally fine with that.
But if they give us Batista and Randy Orton, it's going to be ugly.
So on to the reveal.
It was The Undertaker with old man arms. He needs to get in the gym a little bit.
When he
But he
first
had
raised his arms up, that was a little scary.
But he had the ministry look again.
He did. I do like his new outfit. I think the
Yes.
new outfit honestly helped a lot. I really do.
And we had they signed the contract, and then he stabbed
But
Brock
to
in the hand.
say, Brock signed the contract. He definitely did not.
Well, if you listen to the after show on the W Network, Alex Riley said he signed it through Brock's hand.
Oh, he signed it with Brock's blood. That's for doggone
But
sure.
if you also watch it, if you watch it in slow motion, the pin changes. It's a purple pin. It goes to a silver pin.
Really?
And when he's doing the chokeslam through the table, there's no pin in the hand. There's no
Huh.
pin. Yes. So the pin, he holds the pin, and then he loses it. And then when they go back to after the after show, he's laying on the mat with a towel wrapped around his hand and a different colored pin holding on to his hand.
He must have lost a pin as they.
Yeah, because it went bouncing with the table.
Exactly.
Yes, it did. Now, up next, Raw will be interesting because it's Chicago bound, the home of CM Punk.
They're already saying that the fans are protesting the entire event.
Oh, it's going to be interesting.
I mean, they're going to be in there chanting CM Punk. No, there's nothing that's going to help that show get away from the CM Punk chants. I don't care how many Hogan, Pipers, Lesnar's, Undertakers. I don't care how many of those people you have in that show. No matter what, there's going to be CM Punk chants. And there'll be people dressed as CM Punk all over the place, I guarantee it.
And sign. How many signs? They'll have dumpster full of signs. That they take up
They're going to be
signs.
taking signs away, but the thing is, they're going to be mighty, mighty busy taking them signs up.
Oh yeah, it's going to be must watch. It is going to be must watch. I'm really going to sit down and really going to enjoy it. I mean, they're going to have the Wyatts versus the Shield,
I think
a rematch from Elimination Chamber.
right.
What would help that would if they used the Chamber.
That would be interesting.
I mean,
Raw.
kind of like old War Games. You flip a coin. You start off with two.
Right.
One Shield, one Wyatt. Flip a coin to see who gets free next.
Yep.
Until you get rid of till you get one team completely gone.
Yep.
I mean, that would help.
It would be
It'd
different.
take about 30 minutes, 45 minutes to show, but I think that would draw the fans away from chanting for CM Punk.
And it would be guys from the future
Who the fans like.
who the fans are loving, yes.
But you're going to put Batista, John Cena, Randy Orton out there. The fans are going to.
The only way to have a main event is going to be something with Daniel Bryan winning against somebody.
Okay.
next week.
I'm glad you said that because I fixed to bring that up. Do you think they give Bryan the title at Chicago?
Now, that would be interesting. That would be the only way, honestly, to get away from the CM Punk chants. Because then it'll turn into yes chants. It'll end the show with yes chants and not CM Punk chants. But do I believe they're going to go that way?
Or would they go that way and Hunter cost him and then that just
Nah,
builds more?
I could
Then
see
you really
that.
then you get trash. We ain't seen trash and stuff thrown in the ring. We may see it.
You hadn't seen the trash in the ring since really Hogan turned heel in WCW. But honestly, I don't see him winning the belt going into WrestleMania. I would love for it to be, hey, you beat Triple H, you go into the main event at WrestleMania. That would be great. I'd love to see him wrestle twice.
I would too. He can do it. He's done it over and over
He's
and
been
over
doing
again.
it here a lot lately.
Okay, let's get up next. Our NXT Arrival, the first live show on the WWE Network, and it was NXT. It was a great show from top to bottom. It had little glitches, which is understandable because they just started the network.
As long
And they're
as
gonna work those out.
the glitches are worked out now, and we don't have to worry about them for WrestleMania.
But they have the Hall of Fame too,
That's true.
and then they had the 5 hours of WrestleMania, which I
Right.
think is going to be a 4 to 5 hours. So.
Oh yeah, because you're going to have your pre-shows and your post-shows also.
But we had Cesaro and Sami Zayn starting off the match.
Their fourth match.
Their fourth match, and everyone has been a barn burner.
Yeah.
It's been number one. It could be match of the year. And they put on a great show. The fans were hot from beginning to end, and Cesaro picked up the win.
I mean, to me,
but neither man was really a loser.
No, it helped the stock for both of those people, but Cesaro needed to win that match in order to look good because he was on a lower level show, and he needs to be looking good for Raw and SmackDown because honestly, he needs to be going into that main event level, and he needs to be becoming the future of wrestling. And I love the match. I mean, it was from top to bottom. There was nothing boring about that match.
No.
The fans were on fire the entire time. I think it was a great way to start the show.
Yeah, so we had C.J. Parker taking on Mojo Rawley. I think he'll be on SmackDown Raw very soon. He was one. The Mojo won the match. We had the tag team champions, the Ascension, taking on a mystery team.
I thought this was going to be interesting. I wasn't sure because, they don't have any tag teams.
No, and I was trying to think who was going to have. They brought back Too Cool, which was good for the crowd. The crowd was rocking and rolling, but of course, the tag team champion, yes, but the tag team champions kept the belts.
Which is, the best thing because honestly, here's my thing. Because when I was thinking about this match, I was thinking, how dumb would it be if Too Cool won that match and it's supposed to be NXT, it's supposed to be the future? Because you already got the New Age Outlaws on Raw and SmackDown with the WWE tag titles.
We don't need any more old.
You don't want Attitude Era on both stations.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No,
both shows, you don't want that.
You don't. You're right about that. Next up was NXT Women's Championship.
I do like they don't call it Divas.
They keep calling them Divas, but it is the women's title.
It is the women's title.
Two future divas, but it
Yes.
should be women. Paige and Emma.
And one of them's already on the show.
Yes.
But this type of match here shows that the women in NXT could be much better than the women that are in WWE right now. And I honestly believe that Paige, a lot of people are saying that she should be the new Lita. A lot of people are comparing her to that. And calling her the anti-diva is something that's going to be really great when she gets on the main roster.
And they missed a perfect opportunity. Elimination Chamber, we never knew who AJ's opponent was.
Right.
It should have been Paige.
That would have been really, really good.
You could have had the NXT champion versus the WWE Women's Divas champion.
Yep.
And but they missed opportunity, gave us Cameron, because she's going to hang around until Naomi gets back.
Oh, yeah,
and then Naomi will take the title
at
WrestleMania.
Yeah, she's just holding on to the spot.
We had Xavier Woods taking on Tyler Breeze. Xavier, I think he might have been pulled up too soon. I mean, he hasn't really done anything. They had the thing with Brodus Clay and them, and then...
Yeah, they were... Him and R-Truth were part of Brodus Clay and Tensai splitting up, which, is great for Tensai. He gets to go down to NXT, become a commentator, which he needed to be doing. But, honestly, that whole feud did nothing for nobody.
No.
It didn't help Brodus Clay. His heel character has gone nowhere. Xavier Woods and R-Truth aren't even a factor in the tag team division.
No.
And most of the time, they're used as singles wrestlers.
Yeah, they need more tag teams. They're like I said, they're just splitting up the tag teams. It's like Triple H gave it away to somebody else, and now all the tag teams are disbanding.
But here's the thing, and I've seen personally going to events, I have seen Tyler Breeze in a dark match, and I did like Tyler Breeze's character. The only thing I didn't like, though, is I didn't personally get to watch this show, but that was where the glitch happened. You didn't get to see that match at all.
No, but now that it's back on there, you can go back and watch it.
Right, now that it's, you can go back and watch it. But live, it did mess up. But honestly, I do like Tyler Breeze's character. Like you said, Xavier Woods, a little early, but Tyler Breeze, I think he's going to be really good.
I know, because that kind of throws Triple H's comment off then.
Yeah.
Bringing somebody when they have something for them.
That's
they have nothing for Xavier Woods.
They've done it with Xavier Woods, and they did it with Bo Dallas. They brought them up a little too early, and there's been nothing going on.
No, you're right. And they had Alexander Rusev attack both men.
Right.
He is going to be money.
Oh, yeah.
Unless they feed him to John Cena.
If he wrestles John Cena, especially early on,
yes,
he is not going to be worth anything once that happens.
No, if he stays away from John, they keep him and John Cena away, that could be a big money match down the road. But if he starts rolling good, I expect him to hold a championship, be it the United States or the Intercontinental title, or when they combine them, that whatever the belt will be, I expect him to hold it before the year 2014 ends.
Oh yeah, he's going to be a big factor, and obviously people like Roman Reigns and Cesaro, they're going to be a factor first, but I think he's going to be really big in the mid-card divisions.
Yes, he will be right now. Then he'll move up. And then finally, the main event was for the title in a ladder match. I think it was the first ever ladder match
for NXT.
For NXT, yes. And they never hinted to Shawn Michaels being there, but Shawn Michaels brought the belt out.
Brought the belt out, talked about the match, talked about how he knew about ladder matches and everything. I think that was the appropriate thing. The only other way you could have done that was Razor Ramon coming out there and Scott Hall talking about it, but I don't think they really want to use him right now because he's possibly, doing the whole Hall of Fame thing.
Right.
I do like that they use Shawn Michaels in that spot.
Yes, he was there, hooked the belt, and it was pretty much gone.
Right.
And let the two youngsters showcase their stuff. I wish there were some more bigger spots, but all in all, it was a great match, and we have a new champion. Does this mean Bo Dallas is about to come up?
That honestly,
after WrestleMania,
when they were in OVW and now NXT and even when it was FCW, anytime the champion lost the belt, they were the next ones to be called up. So we could honestly, really and truly be seeing Bo Dallas come back up again. Hopefully, if he comes back up again, they don't do the way they did him before, where he just beat Wade Barrett.
He was a goofy face the first time.
But now he's a heel.
He's a heel. I like the heel character.
He's got an actual character.
I like the heel character, the bow levers. I mean, that's workable. Shirt material, everything like that. But they have to do it right. They can't just bring him up and have him do nothing like they're doing with Wade Barrett. I mean, Wade Barrett should still be gone because he's done nothing. This bad news Barrett thing will run its course. It was good on the JBL and Cole show, but it's run its course, and he needs to go away because he's done nothing. Wade was money when he was the Nexus and everything, but now he's nothing.
Right.
Okay, well now I see that we have our first big segment on the show.
Yes.
Time to retire. So Justin, go ahead and take it away. Your little segment. Time. Who needs to retire? Is that what it's called?
That's
time
what
to retire.
Is. Yes, time to retire.
Time to retire.
All right, and here we are for my segment, Time to Retire. And basically what it's going to be is a 4-week thing where I'm going to be talking about certain people that I feel on the WWE roster need to be retiring. And I'm going to be talking about 3 people. One is a collective unit and the other person's an individual. This week it's going to be about Christian. We were just talking about Christian and Sheamus, and that's part of what I'm talking about. I feel like it's a really good idea to have Christian and Sheamus at WrestleMania, have Christian push Sheamus and really get him back on that winning track, make him look good like he used to before he got injured. I don't think there's any money left in Christian. He's done it all, multi-time champion, every championship he's ever held. But I think at this point in time, it's time for him to just go off in the sunset. Look, with his charisma, he could be a great manager. He could help bring back management. I mean, I think he'd be a great manager, just like Zeb Coulter and Paul Heyman. But I do not see him being a wrestler much longer. And, I mean, they even say Vince is not even a fan of him. So I feel like he needs to really move on, maybe even work backstage, help with creative, anything. But I think his time is winding down. The other people is the tag team of the New Age Outlaws, which we were just talking about earlier. And I think if they do a Fatal 4-Way at WrestleMania, that'll be great. And I think, honestly, they're going to do the right thing. They were already having other jobs in the WWE behind the scenes. So I believe that they're going to do the right thing and not overstay their welcome. I believe that they're going to put over a young tag team at WrestleMania and make them look good and then kind of run off into the sunset and be great. So I think, honestly, that's what both of those people need to be doing. And next week, I'm going to be talking about 2 more individuals on Time to Retire. Thank you.
Well, that was a pretty good segment there, Justin. I appreciate you. And you're right. I mean, that's true. Christian's time has passed, and he needs to start pushing more younger people. Well, Sheamus is not too young.
No.
But
he is one of Hunter's boys, so
yes,
obviously.
And with his contract expiring soon, do you think they could have a loser leave match at the Extreme Rules?
That would be an interesting way for him to go out.
The bad thing about it, though, when they start having loser leave matches, the internet has given away they're leaving, so we kind of know who's leaving.
Right.
So
takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, let's get on with TNA's results.
That won't take very long.
It won't take very long. It started off with a TNA title contract signing between Samoa Joe and Magnus at Lockdown.
I think the only good thing about TNA right now is that the fact that Magnus and Samoa Joe are main event players. I do enjoy both of them, but Magnus being associated with Dixie, it's really getting on my nerves.
What? I mean, I can understand that. She's trying to be Vince McMahon.
Right.
Or she's trying to be Mr. McMahon, which ain't going to work.
No.
And Samoa Joe's on in this spot because they were afraid he was going to leave the company, so they pushed him to the title match.
Of course.
But they did that. They have MVP. Dixie wasn't even there. She wasn't in the ring this time, and they had MVP there, and they started fighting and everything, but they got him apart and everything, so they just saved it for the pay-per-view.
So Dixie wasn't even in the ring, and the ratings still didn't get better.
I know.
My gracious, what are they going to do?
Now we have Bromans, the tag team champions, on TV against Bad Influence, and the tag team champions off TV, the Wolves.
Now, I will say this right here.
Yeah.
Okay? That's the only 3 tag teams they have, and instead of putting that on a pay-per-view, they put it on a UK show with all 3 of them facing each other.
Right.
Horrible idea.
And the Bromans won. So, okay. We had Bobby Roode and Austin Aries in the back. Roode was trying to tell Aries not to trust MVP, and he should join Team Dixie. That's what he should do. But Aries says he's a hot commodity now, and he always does. He always chooses correctly, and then he left off. So, you know.
It'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, so is it going to be MVP each team, or is it going to be Team Dixie, you know? We had EC3, I believe a future world champion. Should have been the first world champion, not Magnus, because if she's the nephew of Dixie Carter, you think she would pull some strings.
And put him in the tournament.
Make sure that he became world champion.
Exactly. A little strange there.
Took on Doug Williams, which I don't think Doug Williams is part of the company anymore.
He's not, but they just used him because they were in the UK, and I guess he's still a company guy. Since they were in the UK, he was willing to put people over. But
he put over EC3. So we had Samoa Joe taking on Bad Bones, another guy from the UK, I think. It was a very quick match.
Very quick.
Yes. It was like a waste of time. Why do you want to waste a number one contender with somebody like that? But they did.
Well, I mean, at least it helped Joe look devastating. Made him look like he could destroy anybody. But Bad Bones is no Magnus.
No.
Obviously, that's not. I mean,
No.
Bad Bones may be a good wrestler, but he's not been put on TV, so nobody knows who he is. So obviously, he's not going to get much moves in.
Yeah, no. Not against Joe. We had Aries and MVP talking in the back now. And MVP wants Aries on his team, but he said he's not too sure he can trust MVP, so he wanted to know if he could be ref for the match between Bobby Roode and MVP later in the night. And, of course, MVP let him be referee.
I smell a plan coming together.
I smell something. We had Jeremy Borash up next. He finally inducted Kurt Angle into the TNA Hall of Fame. So that makes, what, 2?
2 people in the Hall of Fame.
Sting and Kurt Angle. 1 WCW guy, 1 WWE guy.
One guy goes in the Hall of Fame, and then he leaves the company. So let's see what happens to this one.
I know, I got a feeling there's going to be a second one. And then we had EC3 come out. They talked back and forth, and we had a match. We're going to have a match for Lockdown with EC3.
I'm seeing a pattern here,
Taking
too.
Kurt Angle.
You put EC3 against Sting to push EC3. Now you put him against Kurt Angle. Now, I do feel like they're doing the right thing with having the veterans help put over the young guys. Now, I do like that.
We had the ladies, or women's
Knockouts.
knockouts. Thank you. I don't pay too much attention to the women on TNA, so the
There's
knockouts.
not very many
Not
left.
very many knockouts tag match, which the
They do have some new ones. They got that alpha female that's come in with Sabin, and I do like that storyline with Sabin and Velvet Sky. They've split up, and now Sabin's got alpha female to help her out. I think they're really pulling at straws, bringing in Lady Tappa and alpha female. I feel like they see that they're missing Awesome Kong, is what I feel like.
Yes, we need her back in WWE since she lost all that weight. So we had Samuel Shaw, which I've seen very little of him. I mean,
Very little. He hasn't really
He's
been
kinda
wrestling.
creepy.
He is creepy, but I do
and
like
hangs
the
out with
character.
Christy Hemme, so
Who, oddly enough, is in real life married, but neither here nor there. They're going to go with the storyline. Who cares? Whatever.
right. And Anderson come out, and Anderson got choked out.
But here's the sad thing, and I guess it's another veteran putting over a young guy, which is what they're trying to do. But he just went had a huge feud with Bully Ray for months and months and months, and now they regulate him to taking on Samuel Shaw.
Right.
Is it a step down for Anderson or is it a step up for Shaw? I haven't seen yet. Can't figure it out.
I stepped down for Anderson.
That's how I feel.
But they kind of used it as he was using him as a shield. She slapped Shaw, but we all know that she's going to turn on Anderson and go and be with Shaw. So we had Gunner and James Storm fighting in the backstage and beating the hell out of each other. So we know that's going to be some type of match.
Could have a fourth tag team right there, but they decided to split them up.
Yes. And our main event was MVP versus Bobby Roode, which Roode got the win. Thanks to Aries, the special referee.
Like I said,
yes.
I smelt a plan coming together.
Yes. So MVP goes for his thrust kick, but Aries steps in, elbows him, and then Roode hits the Roode bomb for the win.
I will say this about TNA. I believe that they have pushed the Wolves and MVP really too quickly into wrestling. I mean, with MVP being a investor, why does he need to waste his time wrestling so much? I mean, why not focus on the company and getting the company better on storyline-wise out the ring, but why does he need to wrestle so much?
I know. And Bully Ray, who was champion for so many days, is not even on the card. So.
No, he's nowhere to be found.
Now on to SmackDown, which is just a step above TNA right now. They need to improve a lot more, but they haven't. So we had Batista come out, talk bad to the fans. Yeah, Batista. We had him talk bad, tell people to deal with it, told him that he's going to be WWE World Heavyweight Champion at WrestleMania. Said there's no men around here with attitude, a bunch of little boys who he'll beat on his way to the championship, which brings out Dolph Ziggler out. Dolph gets a drop kick on him and runs out of the ring, which sets up for a match later in the evening.
Sad. But
it is sad, yes. We had Big E and Mark Henry with our first match take on the Real Americans. And this was just a switch from before. This time, Cesaro tagged himself in as Swagger was going for the win with the Patriot Lock. Mm-hmm. And he was able to hit the neutralizer on Mark Henry.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, that's why I feel like they're really pushing Cesaro. I mean, he's done that to Khali. He's done that to Big E. He's done that to Mark Henry. What I don't like is the fact that I thought Mark Henry and Big E were at one time going to really, be pushed into this feud, and it doesn't seem like it's going to happen unless they're trying to revisit it now.
I don't know. And now there's talk of unifying the belts.
Which, you know what, honestly, with the way the divisions are, I am totally fine with that. I'm totally fine with them combining the belts together because honestly, they haven't focused on either belt in years. So why not just combine them together? Maybe get some better focus.
And they got so much talent. I don't know why they don't.
For the mid card, they have a ton of people.
Then we had Vicky in the back talking on the telephone. Alberto come in, wanted the night off, brings in Sheamus. Sheamus, he said he's looking for a fight, and Vicky makes the match. Sheamus versus Alberto Del Rio. Which was match 2.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, that match ended when during the match, Christian come down, sat on commentating, and during the match, he got involved. And of course, caused the disqualification for...
once again, building up to their match
yes.
at WrestleMania, which obviously Sheamus is going to win.
We had an introduction from Alana, who did Alexander Rusev. Big dude, big money, unless you stick him with John Cena, like I said earlier.
Yep.
You're right. Keep them far away from each other. Or just be him beating Big Show or anybody else.
I think Rusev needs to kind of start out just beating jobbers, kind of like how Ryback did, which we won't put those two people together. We won't put them in the in the same category, but I think they really need to put him just beating jobbers. That's a lost art. Beating jobbers and really just building himself up for months at a time, and then go into beating the regular talent on the roster.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
Yes. We had the Shield taking on Ambrose. The Shield was in the back, and Ambrose and Reigns was arguing again.
Right.
And Rollins stepped in and made it all good, and they all were unified again. And
the voice of reason.
He's becoming the voice of reason. Too bad he'll be the main one to.
He'll be the main one not pushed.
Yes. He'll be the main one to turn on both of them. So if this is the way, he's the main one. So you had Dolph versus Batista, which. I mean, Dolph got some good shots in, but
you know where that was going to go. They haven't pushed
Batista.
Dolph in years, and why would they have Dolph beat Batista when he's going into WrestleMania?
And then one of the pops of the night was the Wyatts come out And Bray was talking about John Cena, how he was the knight in shining armor and everything like that.
Right.
Which brought out the Shield. We thought we was going to get another match right then. Hunter come out, stop the Shield, instead save it for Monday Night Raw. So we'll have a big old rematch on Raw.
At least they're using one show to build to the other show, because they haven't been doing that in a long time. It's just been a couple hours before Raw. They'll announce one of the matches. But at least they're using one show to build to the other show. That's what they need to be doing.
They should have done it a long time ago. The funny lines was when Hunter told them to get down and get away, Bray told them they need to listen to their daddy. So.
Nice.
So, I mean, they got back in the ring. We had a face-off, but the Wyatts left on out after that. We had a Divas match, another one, AJ and Cameron again. This time there was no kick from Tamia by mistake this time, and AJ beat Cameron and kept her title, which you expect.
Of course.
She's holding it just for Naomi.
Yeah.
So it can go on the Divas show. So it can just...
Right.
We don't win belts just to win belts. We win belts to promote shows.
Exactly.
And then our main event was a six-man. Daniel Bryan, the Usos, taking on Kane and the New Age Outlaws.
Once again, older veterans helping the younger guys.
Yes, and we had Billy hit the Famouser. Daniel kicked out, was able to get free, hit the knee strike for the win.
There you go.
So SmackDown was pretty good, but it wasn't as good as it should have been.
No, I mean when NXT is more exciting than SmackDown, there is something wrong. Because honestly, to me, the show of the week had to be NXT.
Yes, that was the show of the week. Yes, that was.
Let's see if they can capitalize off of that live show to do something else. To get a better show.
I just wish they were live more often.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Instead of just being once every so often. And now we have this. We're talking about the WWE Network, where the NXT was on. They have a new show called Countdown.
Okay.
They want you to vote on the WWE website, and then later on they'll film the segments and then they'll show them later. The first show out was coolest catchphrases.
Okay.
And I'm gonna read off the catchphrases, and you tell me if you think they deserve to be on the top 10 list, or they don't.
Okay.
Or who should have been on there.
All right.
The number 10 was Hulk Hogan's "What You Gonna Do."
Okay, I could see that. I mean, that was pretty iconic for many years, so that's fine.
You think You think he was put on there because he came back?
Of course. If he was still in TNA, they would not have
There
been
would
on
be
the
no
list.
"What You Gonna Do." None of that.
No, that would not have been on the list if he was still in TNA.
All right, number 9 was "Can You Dig It, Sucker" from Booker T.
Okay. I do agree with that.
You do agree with that, okay? 8 was "Best There Is, Best There Was, Best There Ever Will Be" from Brett.
Okay, I could kind of see that being a little higher up. You know, not number 8.
Number 8, you think it
I
should
could
be?
see
Yes.
a little bit better number, but
And we had number 7 was the "Rest in Peace" from The Undertaker.
I could see that being a little bit better of a number.
Yes.
But it does deserve to be on the list.
Number 6 was "Suck It" from DX.
Right in the middle there, that's fine.
And number 5 we had "If You Smell What the Rock Is Cooking."
Surprised that's number 5, but at least it's in the top 5. It shouldn't have been. It shouldn't have been in the top 10. It should have been in the top 5. So that's better.
Number 4 we have "Give Me a Hell Yeah" from Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Surprised it's number 4.
You're very
I'm
surprised.
surprised it's number 4. That honestly, that would have been like my number 1. But that's me.
something.
It sold a lot of shirts, but okay.
Then they gave us "Above and Beyond." This is one that wasn't on the countdown,
Okay.
but it's "Above and Beyond." It was "You're Fired" from Vince McMahon. You knew the boss would have to be somewhere on the list.
Of course. So they didn't have that as one of the voting people.
No,
So,
they just added that as their own as "Above and Beyond."
okay, that's a little strange. They should have had that in the voting, but I do agree with it being in there.
Or maybe it was number 11. They
True.
and being Vince McMahon,
They
added
took it
to
out, put
yes.
him in there.
Yes. Number 3 was "You Can't See Me" from John Cena.
I'm not a fan, so I could care less about him, but he sold a lot of shirts, sold a lot of merchandise. He's been the top guy for 10 years. Of course, it's going to be in the list.
Yes. Number 2 was "Yes, Yes, Yes."
Okay, I agree with that.
You agree with that?
I agree. I mean, number 2, that works.
You wouldn't think he was number 1. Being as popular as Daniel Bryan is and people voting, I'm shocked that he was not number 1.
For his popularity right now, I could see him being number 1. Overall, throughout all the years of what wrestling is, I don't see him being number 1 on the list for yes.
So who do you think came in at number 1?
Well, I mean, all the iconic ones are on there, so, you know, there's not many left that I could really think of. So, who is number one?
The number one coolest catchphrase is, "Woo! Ric Flair."
Okay.
The Nature Boy coming at number one.
Okay. I mean, I've been to many events, even after Flair was not wrestling, he was even in TNA, and they still did that going into the building and coming out. They still did that. But I honestly believe that as much as Stone Cold did for that company, his should have been number one.
Well,
Even the What. I'm surprised the What is not on there.
during the show, they did add other things like Austin 316.
Okay.
But that's mostly what they picked as their top 10.
Was what on the list?
No, it was on the list. When they talked about Steve Austin, though, they threw it in there. They threw in the Austin 316. And stuff like that. So
I do believe he should have been number one. That's my personal opinion.
I'm surprised Hunter was not on the list either. Well, folks, that's our first match. Our first match.
Well.
Our first match, yes. Our first show. Our first episode. And it's been a long one. I know you're thinking, good Lord, they talk forever. We'll try to shorten them down next time. But, have you enjoyed yourself?
I've enjoyed this. I really have, and I hope they've enjoyed it.
I think they're going to be asleep. They need to wake up. I know we've talked a long time. But we will try to make this a lot quicker, a lot shorter. There's a lot of people out there in this generation. It's 5 minutes. If you're over 5 minutes, that's too long.
That's true. But at least we do have something interactive for them to get involved with. Maybe it'll wake them up.
And you can go to our Facebook page. It's Mike Hogan and Justin Carter, and leave a comment. Tell us we're too damn long and shorten it up a little bit, or whatever you want to.
Tell us a suggestion on something that you want us to talk about, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, there you go. And we'll try it again next week. And maybe we won't be so long. So for Mike Hogan,
Justin Carter,
thanks for watching us, and see you next week for Top Rope Reality.